Okay, good morning. Got a great matchup this weekend with Auburn, as you all know. First time Auburn has been to Norman. They got a really good football team. As I'm getting started, I'd like to just take a quick moment to congratulate Coach Stoops on going into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. Really cool honor for him, and that year going against Washington State. What a fun game that was. But congratulations to Coach Stoops for that. I think Saturday is going to be a Wear Crimson game for all the Sooner fans, so I know they're going to show up early and stay late and have a great opportunity to again affect the game like they did against Michigan. So look forward to having a great crowd on Saturday afternoon. Auburn has had a lot of success in the lines of scrimmage here. I talked about that a little bit last night, and they ranked in both the top 20 on rushing offense and rushing defense. Have done a fantastic job, got great balance in what they're doing. They've given up just under 2 yards a run through their first 3 games, and they're averaging almost 250 yards a game rushing. They've rushed for 10 touchdowns. Have not allowed a rushing touchdown yet this year. Last year, they had 13 total rushing touchdowns, so they've already gotten 10 this year. They've been great in the red zone, where they're 9 out of 9, and they've gone for it. They haven't missed a fourth down conversion yet as well. Jackson Arnold is completing 70% of his passes and averaging 167 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers at all. Ran for just under 150 yards against Baylor. So he's playing really, really well. They've got tremendous talent on both sides of the ball. They've got a great roster, really big physical offensive line. Cobb's an excellent runner, really explosive, and runs well behind his pads. And then defensively, man, these guys are long and they're athletic. Again, super aggressive. They're multiple, well coached. So again, going to be a great challenge for us going into this weekend.
We'll start on George.
Yeah, Brent, after the season that was tough last year, maybe what conversations did you and Jackson have after the year, and was it one of those situations where maybe both sides needed somewhat of a fresh start?
Yeah, I'll just keep that between he and I, and obviously things have worked out well for him and us both. But those things are never easy, but it's just the environment that we're in, and I'm really happy for him that he's having great success.
Where have you maybe, watching him on tape, where have you maybe seen him improve from last year to this year?
I think he's the same guy. I think he's got a healthy football team around him, and he's having great success running, throwing, being really efficient. He's taking care of the ball, and the people around him are good. Can't play quarterback by yourself, right? So I think the offense and their defense complement one another, and he's really done a great job.
Thanks, Brent.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, you guys have an update on Mason's appeal?
Yeah, he's going to miss the first half.
And with him missing the first half, how big of an opportunity is it for guys like Danny?
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing a bunch of guys, and Danny will be back here this week, so guys got to hold it down, and but I've got no doubt they will.
Mason?
Brent, Troy Everett obviously didn't make the trip to Philly. He's not on your depth chart anymore. What's his status?
Yeah, he had a season-ending injury a week ago last Tuesday. I hate that for him. It's just devastating. Same injury, other knee that he had a little over a year and a half ago, and he's having a really good year, and just a great leader. And he'll have to lead in a different type of way. Really hurt for him, and again, all the pain, the sacrifice that he's been through. But he's really tough, and he'll move on, move forward, and he'll find another way to use all the leadership qualities that he has to help us.
Brent, with Troy's injury, just
How do you feel about the depth there at center behind Jake?
Yeah, feel okay. Like everybody, not many teams going to have 3 or 4 centers. So we got a good plan. If we have to address that at some point in time, and we'll be fine.
Barry?
Yeah, Brent, Michigan week, we asked you a lot how you're going to defend Bryce Underwood. By then you knew how you were going to do it, but you didn't know much about what they would do with him, what he could do, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Same thing on Jackson, except you do know all about him. You know his strengths, his weaknesses, you know everything, entire history. How does that affect what you can do defensively in terms of presenting a plan to stop him?
Yeah, we got to really stop the Auburn offense. That's the challenge. And they've got great balance, as I said, both running and throwing, and very efficient. So you got to play well in every area. They're good at running the football, and they're good at throwing the ball down the field in the RPO world, and staying on schedule, being very efficient. So we've got to be a little more efficient, and we've got to protect the perimeter. And we got to do a great job up front, plugging gaps and getting off of blocks and having great leverage and playing great team defense.
Okay, second row, Ryan Chapman.
You mentioned the balance Auburn's offense has. What have you seen from Coleman and Singleton and kind of the 1-2 punch?
Yeah, again, Singleton is a new addition, obviously came from Georgia Tech, and really explosive playmaker. When he touches the ball, man, he's got a chance to score every time he touches the ball. So they're utilize him in lots of different ways as both a ball carrier, some of the perimeter game, the screen game, and then he's also a threat down the field. Coleman he's elite. He's got great length to him, and had a good game against us last year. He's got great catch radius, super instinctive. He can really go up and get the football, and so going to be another area that's a big challenge for us.
Third row, Cliff.
Coach, when you first came here, I recall one of your biggest issues with your defense being tackling. You get frustrated almost every week. You guys try to strip the ball, gambling to make big plays, and sometimes getting burned by it. Now you've got one of the best defenses in the country, universally considered one of the best defenses in the country, despite having not forced a turnover. Generally, when that happens, you've got to have good tackling, good fundamentals. Mm-hmm. At what point did you start to notice a change in the mentality of your guys from a shift from trying to force those big plays to embracing defensive fundamentals?
Yeah, I don't know if there was ever an exact moment, but we got better when our guys started understanding defense, tracking angles, certainly a lot of the fundamentals that you carry, from practice to game day. But I really feel like the understanding of coverage, zone, man, and where your help is, so you know how to close space. I think the hardest, most challenging part of tackling is closing space, and the next thing that you say after that is just the tracking angles, and it's all based on where your help is. So the more intelligent we got, the more that we developed the fundamentals within the tackling techniques. I feel like we got a lot better, a lot more aggressive, a lot more confident. Put our eyes where they belong in our zone coverage, so you see the ball thrown, so you make a quick break. There's lots of layers to it. I don't know an exact moment. And so we got our players that were on our roster a little better, and our freshmen certainly have grown up through it. Many of those guys are guys like Kip, Kobe, R. Mason, Grayson, Gentry, Robert, that group of guys, and Owen. And then, we've recruited better, and gotten a little better athletically, and that always helps. When you got good players, on top of that. But we like everybody. We put a premium on it, and I think our practice environment strains our guys to improve that way. We're not going to compromise, being really good at the basics, and certainly got, room for improvement, but we've made, tremendous improvement that way.
James Hale.
Brent, Auburn's offense is interesting, as you pointed out. They're very versatile, but they really run the ball really well, and they've sold their offense on running the ball. Your defense seems like it's set up to really defend the run. Talk about this matchup and how elaborate is the running?
Yeah, they're very elaborate. There are lots of layers to it. It's not just one thing. Last week's team that we played, they ran the mid zone, and then they ran the power read. And so you had two plays to defend, and Auburn has a lot more depth to what they do. They're smart, they're well coached, they're super athletic, they're big, they're strong, very powerful. Again, left tackles, 6'7", 350, and he's a great player. And they've got a lot of guys that are very physical, very violent. And then the running back and the quarterback are excellent runners. They're elite runners, within the system. They're not just guys. They're really good. And so we're going to have to do a great job. We're going to see a variety of styles and entry angles and different formations. And they do a great job of finding ways to create leverage in the run game and be physical too, and run downhill too. And make sure that they divide the defense and with some option principles in addition to the other styles of run they have. So it's everything from Q draw to power read to quarterback counter to the jet sweep to down around to the power to the downhill inside zone. They run it all really well.
Far left side, Brandon Drum.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off that, can you talk about the offensive line for Auburn? They got several transfers in, guys that a lot of people really wanted through the transfer portal, and how they've meshed and how difficult it might be for you all as far as like the matchup. Yeah, no, again, they're really good there. That's where it all starts for them. And there's a reason. Again, they've rushed for 10 touchdowns. They had 13 all of last year, so they're better up front. They're better at receiver. They're better at quarterback. I just look at all the efficiencies, and they've been a really clean, efficient unit. They're kind of like, their offense looks like our defense, from an efficiency and a cleanliness, the things that you got to do to win, they've been able to do. I think they're just around 50% conversion rate on third down. They're 100% conversion rate on fourth down. So again, it's a small sample size like us as well, but they're playing with a lot of confidence right now and getting better. So it's going to be a great challenge.
Curtis Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Brett, one of those guys that you're going to need against that line, David Stone. Looks like he's taken a nice leap so far. What have you liked about his progression?
Yeah, just the improvement coming from hard work. Man, that is such an amazing space for me. I just want to roll around in that area. And I say that, man, because that's what it's looked like. He's been in the middle of a grind. He comes to work every single day. He is strained. He's put in a lot of extra work, and he's made tremendous improvement. Been bragging on him since back in the winter, and so there it is. There's the fruits of a lot of hard labor, and he's not a guy that gets satisfied either. So I can't promote the how enough for the rest of the team. And there's other guys too, but you brought him up, so I just brag on all of his hard work. He's got strong, calloused hands and great self-awareness, and then he's very hungry and ambitious and driven, to continue to show up and put the extra, time in every single day. And it's really made a big difference for us up front to have another big, strong, athletic, live body there.
We've got a few in the front row on the left. We'll start with Bob.
Yeah, Brent Ben was just up here talking about Jovantae.
Yeah.
Selfless was the word that he used. Just what's it been like watching him adjust and accept whatever role's being asked of him while mentoring Torrey along the way too? Yeah, that's who Jovantae's been since he's been here. Great teammate, very selfless, values his opportunity when he gets it. Never been one to show up outside my door and complain and point fingers or make excuses. He's got a workmanlike attitude. He's blue collar, inside and out. And, he's brought out the best in his teammates. Again, mentored a guy like Torrey and brought him along quickly. So really have a great, deep, appreciation for Jovantae. That's great, leadership traits.
Let's go to Josh.
Isaiah Sategna, back when he was at Arkansas, his best performance came against Auburn. So how do you think that'll translate here?
Not anything whatsoever. If he does well, it had nothing to do with what he did against them at Arkansas, in my opinion. Maybe Isaiah would say different, but whatever you did last year doesn't carry over. You got to go. This is a game of doing, a game of execution, a game of performance. And, is he more confident because of that? Maybe. I don't know. You have to ask him. But he should be confident because he's been playing well. He's got great work ethic. He's ultra consistent. He loves to practice. He's been a really good player for us up to this point.
Okay, Jesse.
Brent, wanted to ask you about PJ, just his growth, his trajectory from a couple of years ago. What has stood out just about that process for him? And then especially with R. Mason missing the first half against Auburn, how much is he a guy that you can kind of lean on?
Yeah, I think he's a poster child for what development looks like, kind of like David Stone. I don't know what anybody thought of him last year or not. He's a much different player than he was a year ago, and PJ's a much different player than he was 2 years ago. He's battled, just some nagging different types of injuries. I know that's been well documented, but he's also developed a good, strong process that I think he's confident in, and he's got the discipline to get into that process a little more consistently, and his results are reflective of a better, more consistent process. Quit seeing too much, quit fidgeting, get your hand in the dirt, get your eyes where they belong, get your eyes, hands, and feet in the right places. Take all of the habits that you've created in practice and take them to game day. Not an easy thing to do, but he's doing it at a more consistent level. And now you're seeing him be trusted a little more by Coach Chavis, and then playing at a little more consistent level. And again, all of his best days are still in front of him, and we need him. We need a guy that's 6'5" and 270 pounds. It's got the kind of length that he does to be able to, be a disruptive, playmaker for us, and excited to see what is in front of him. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I have in the queue. Did I miss anyone who hasn't asked a question? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it. Yep.